My beloved child, there are things in your spiritual life that are quietly drifting off course, and even you yourself do not realize it. These 3 signs are not just passing by like a strange gust of wind. They are touching every beat of your life, letting you know that you are standing on a fragile boundary. On one side is my invitation. On the other is the silent loosening of your soul. If you take this moment lightly, tomorrow may become the day you break down in tears over the sacred opportunities you have let slip away. That is why today, you and I need to talk. Right now, I see the places where your soul is weary, the very places you try to hide. And I want to pull you out of that darkness so that you may step back into the light I have prepared for you. I have set before you life and blessing. Dot 3019. And you need to recognize this before quiet resignation begins to dim the eyes of your spirit. I want you to know whatever line you are standing on, I am already there, waiting for you to lean toward hope instead of giving up. You are not as weak as you think. You have simply forgotten whose hand is holding yours. My child, there are moments when life makes you think you are walking in the right direction, while in truth, your soul is silently floating toward a shore I never desired for you. Prolonged silence is not always peace. At times, it is an alarm your soul is trying hard to ignore. You have grown so used to a tired rhythm of living that you have started to call it normal. But I see behind it a soul whose fire is slowly going out. You think you are still fine, yet in reality you are drying up a little more each day. I see clearly the moments when you look at yourself and all you can see are shortcomings, failures, and judgments you have gathered from life. You let those voices drown out mine, the voice that calls you the one I love. When you believe the definitions the world places on you, you unintentionally step away from the calling I have prepared, not because you mean to, but because you are too exhausted to resist the hidden current pushing you farther from me. And then, the dreams I once planted in your heart, the things you once believed were the path of your life, you have buried them simply because they did not blossom in the season you expected. You call them illusions, but in reality they are merely sleeping, waiting for the time I have appointed. When you no longer dare to hope, that is not maturity. It is the sign of a soul slowly losing its strength. I want to hold you back before that becomes a complete surrender. I need to say this to you plainly. There are 3 signs already present in your life. And if you do not look at them in my light, you will think they are just passing emotions, but they are not. The first sign is that you are living in prolonged exhaustion and have begun to treat it as something natural. Spiritual weariness has seeped into every breath you take, turning your prayers into nothing more than sighs. You are starting to believe that I am silent, that your pleas no longer reach me. But the truth is that you are growing weaker, and your ears have become so tired that they no longer distinguish my answers. I ask you to pause for a moment and listen to your own heart, because there are things happening quietly within you that you have grown so used to that you no longer notice them. Prolonged weariness is not a small matter, nor is it simply a personality trait or a way of life, as you often console yourself. It is the faint cry of your soul, telling you that the hope which once burned brightly within you is now being slowly covered by a thin layer of dust you no longer bother to brush away. You live with the mindset, I will just use whatever strength I have left, not realizing that this is wearing down the light I placed within you. Your prayer has turned into a string of sighs, and you assume that I do not hear, while in truth, it is your own heart that has grown so tired it no longer opens to receive my response. You think silence is part of spiritual maturity, but sometimes silence is the sign that you are letting go of me a little more each day. I do not blame you, I only want you to see that you are weakening, so that I may draw you back. Do you know why exhaustion quietly takes hold of you? Because you are trying to carry too many things on your shoulders without handing them over to me. You store up worries, small failures, moments of being misunderstood, expectations that never came to be, and stack them one on top of another as burdens you must bear. You do not let them go because you think these things are small. Yet it is precisely these small things that seep into every corner of your soul, leaving you tired without knowing why. Like the people of Israel in the desert, they still walked with me, but their hearts were filled with so many small complaints that they became drained and lost their peace. You are the same. You are still walking, but no longer walking in trust. You still pray, but no longer pray in hope. When a soul no longer believes in what I am doing, it will grow weak, even when outwardly you still fulfill every duty. And that weakness becomes the doorway through which resignation enters. There was a time when the prophet Elijah was so strong he challenged hundreds of false prophets. Yet just one threat from Queen Jezebel was enough to make him collapse. Run into the wilderness and ask for death. It was not that he was weak, it was that he was spent after continual spiritual battles. Do you see, even my own, those whom I use in powerful ways, can become so exhausted that they no longer realize I am still walking beside them. Elijah thought he had been abandoned, but I touched him through a gentle breeze and restored him with a small loaf of bread and a jar of water. My child, if even Elijah once fell under the weight of exhaustion, why do you condemn yourself when you feel tired? I do not want you to be ashamed of your weakness. I want you to look at it and see that I am waiting there to lift you up. My beloved child, you do not need to be strong at this very moment. You only need to be honest with yourself and honest with me. I do not ask you to carry a torch through the night. I only ask you to take my hand so that I can lead you through it. You do not have to wait until the tiredness is gone before coming back to me, for it is precisely when you are weakest that I desire to be your strength. Let me become the living water that restores your soul, as I did for Elijah, so that you may see my presence has never left you. Do not stick labels on yourself like not enough, unworthy, or unanswered, for I have never written those words over you. You only need to return, to let me touch the places you are hiding, and that exhaustion will lose its power to direct your steps. My child, I am bending down to hear your very breath. If you open your heart even a little, I will step into the part of you you are most afraid to face. And as you begin to look at your weariness in the light of love rather than judgment, you will realize there are many other things quietly affecting the way you see yourself. A soul that is exhausted easily believes words that do not come from me. It easily nods along with voices that make you smaller. It easily belittles the worth I placed within you from the moment of creation. That is why I invite you to walk a little more slowly, to recognize that this tiredness does not only affect your strength, but also the way you see yourself. When that thin layer of dust settles over the eyes of your spirit, you no longer clearly see the value I have given you, and your heart begins to lean toward judgments that do not call you by the name I have spoken. And from here, deeper things will be brought to light, not to frighten you, but so that you may see yourself again in my true light. My child, there are moments in your spiritual life when you think you are still standing firm, but in reality your soul has been stuck for a long time in a place of in-between. You still go to Mass, still pray, still fulfill every task entrusted to you, yet within you there is no longer the burning fire of that first day when I called your name. You walk like someone moving through mist. You still see the road, but can no longer tell which direction is guiding you forward and which direction only tires you more. You are standing in a gray zone between calling and letting go, a place you do not dare to name. I do not blame you for this. I only want you to know that this quiet in-between is more dangerous than the times you clearly fall. When you fall, I can lift you up, but when you float in uncertainty, you no longer even know where you are going. There are nights when you stare at the ceiling and ask why you do everything you should, yet your heart still feels empty. It is because you are living by duty. not by faith. Duty keeps you from walking away, but only faith can lead you forward. When you are doing what is right but no longer loving what is right, you slip into the state of someone who has the correct form but lacks the breath of new life. I see your efforts. I take note of every step you make, but I also know you are carrying within you a nameless fatigue. That tiredness makes you think everything around you has lost its meaning, while the truth is that it is your own heart that needs restoration. You are not wrong. You are not broken. You are simply living without the strength to believe that I still desire to lead you further. My child, I want to remind you of a story that few pondered deeply. When Jesus came to the house of Martha and Mary, Martha was so busy with many things that she no longer realized the Lord was right there in her home. Martha was not wrong. Her work was not bad, but her heart was divided in so many directions that she lost the simple joy of presence. You are the same. You do much. You strive much. You stay busy with much. And it is precisely this busyness that keeps you from feeling the gaze with which I look at you. You are close to me and yet feel far away, like Martha standing right beside me while her soul wandered elsewhere. I did not rebuke Martha harshly, and I am not rebuking you. I only want you to be a little more like Mary, to dare to set everything down, to sit, to listen, to breathe, to remember that I do not want you merely to survive, but to live in my presence, my beloved child. When you realize you are standing on an invisible line, that is not failure but a gentle call from me. You do not need to understand everything at once. You only need to admit that you are tired, that you need me more than ever. You do not have to pretend to be strong in front of me. I know every beat of your heart, every hidden thing, every fear. If you would only step back one step, only open your heart a little, you would see that I am standing right beside you, not to accuse, but to embrace you. I want to lead you out of the gray zone, not with harsh reproach, but with the tenderness of a father who has long been waiting for you to turn your face toward him. You are not trapped. You simply need to choose again the direction in which you want to walk. And when your soul begins to brighten even a little, you will realize that this in-between state not only slows you down but also blurs the way you see yourself. As hope grows weak, the truth within you is easily replaced by whispers that do not come from me. You are not making any progress. You are useless. God has no more use for you. I know you have heard those voices so often that you have come to think they are true. But, my child, those voices have never belonged to me. A soul standing on the threshold is always easily swayed by such lies. And it is from this place that, if you are not watchful, you begin to lean in a direction that takes you one step farther from me. But do not be afraid, for when you recognize this truth, you are already ready to go deeper into what I want to show you, that your true worth has never changed, no matter how exhausted your soul may be. My child, there are things that happen in the spiritual life, not because I am silent or because your prayers have been forgotten, but because you are looking at everything only through the weary angle of your own heart. You think I am delaying, but in reality, it is your heart that has grown too tired to recognize the work I am doing. Like someone standing in the middle of a battle, with dust blinding the eyes and noise drowning out the call. You no longer see the angel fighting for you behind the invisible veil. You think everything is standing still, but in fact every detail of your life is being rearranged according to my order. You simply cannot see it yet. I do not want you to live with the feeling of being abandoned. I want you to know that my delays always have reasons deeper than you imagine, and those reasons always point toward the very best I have prepared for you. My beloved child, there are moments when you kneel to pray, and yet your hands tremble with disappointment, because you have been longing for a clear sign, a door that opens immediately. You have waited so long that you have begun to think I do not hear, that you have been set aside from my plan. But you forget that some of Daniel's prayers were received by me on the very first day he uttered them. And yet they were not resolved until the 21st day because of the invisible battle between the angel and the opposing powers. Delay is not rejection. It is only a sign that heaven is moving according to an order your eyes cannot yet see. You see only time dragging on, but I see a battle moving toward its conclusion. You see only silence, but I see the preparations the angel is making for you. My child, when weariness is prolonged, that is when you are most likely to misunderstand me. You look at something that has not yet happened and you name it, God is doing nothing. You look at a door that has not yet opened and you call it rejection. But you do not realize that sometimes I delay simply to protect you from something you are not yet ready to receive. Like a farmer who will not harvest the grain while it is still green. I do not place anything into your hands when the time is not yet ripe. If you receive it too soon, a blessing will turn into a burden. If you rush ahead, the seed I have sown in you will wither. I delay not to pull you farther from me, but to hold you longer in my arms, so that you may learn a steadfastness no one can take away from you. My dear child, the greatest danger is not that your prayers seem unanswered. It is that you are tempted to give up just before the angel acts. Many souls have stopped right at the moment when help was drawing closest. Many have stepped away from the path I prepared for them simply because they could not endure those final, dim days before the light began to break. I do not want you to become one of them, my child. Whenever you feel like ending everything, it is often the moment when I am about to open a new chapter you never expected. Do not let a passing feeling deceive you into thinking there is nothing more I can do with your life. I am still at work, only in quiet. And it is not quiet because I am far from you, but quiet because I am doing something greater than you could bear to understand all at once. And, my child, when you begin to look at delay with new eyes, you will discover an important truth. It is the way you interpret things that has led you to this place of hanging between hope and surrender. When you believe that I am slow, your heart inclines toward disappointment. When you think I am doing nothing, you lean toward giving up. And from that place, you easily believe voices that do not come from me, the voice of comparison, the voice of judgment, the voice of self-contempt. But then, when your heart opens to understand that I am always at work, you will see more clearly the lies you once mistook for truth. And right there, another door will open, a door that leads you deeper into this journey, where you will have to face your emotions and the way they are quietly turning the course of your life. If you are willing, I will lead you into this, because I want you to step into maturity, not to remain forever on the edge of giving up. My child, there are times when your very emotions become a shadow, pulling you away from the path I have prepared, and you do not even realize it. Emotions are not evil. I created you with a heart that can tremble. Fear and hope, but when emotions sit in the driver's seat, you no longer walk by my light but by the passing tremors of your soul. You begin to believe that exhaustion is the final truth, that disappointment is your definition, that you have no worth beyond what people can see on the surface. You withdraw into yourself, not because you truly want to, but because your emotions convince you that this is the only way to protect yourself. I see this, my child, and I do not come to rebuke your feelings. I come to set you free from the power they are quietly holding over you. My beloved, when you let passing emotions lead the way, you do not realize that you are unconsciously choosing places that were never meant for your soul. When you are afraid of being mocked, you choose silence instead of stepping into your calling. When you feel small, you choose to hide instead of entering into the plans I have given you. And when you crave recognition to ease your emptiness, you easily cling to people who do not bring you closer to me. You do not do these things because you are bad, You are simply reacting out of your wounds. But, my child, reacting out of your wounds will always carry you further from where I desire to lead you. I want you to know that you are not your emotions. You are the one I created. And your worth is never determined by your moments of weakness. There is a story I want to remind you of, my child, about Israel in the desert. When they had just left Egypt, a brief thirst was enough to make them forget all the miracles I had just done to deliver them. Fearful emotions made them want to return to the land of slavery, where they had been oppressed, simply because the familiar seemed safer to them. Do you see, when emotions lead the way, people will choose bondage over freedom, just because freedom has stretches of road that are hard to walk. You are the same at times. You go back to old choices just because they are familiar, even though you know they make your soul feel suffocated. I do not tell you this to reproach you, but so that you can see how emotions can make you forget what I have done and lose what I am even now preparing. My child, I want you to pause for a moment and look at where your emotions have pushed you off course. You have chosen silence instead of speaking when I stirred you to. You have stepped back when I called you to move forward. You have chosen the sweet words of people instead of my gentle whisper. And then you wonder why you are tired, why you are empty, why you no longer recognize yourself. Because your soul belongs to me. Anything that does not lead you toward me will rob you of peace. But I will not let you wander long, if you will only place your hand over your heart and say to me, Father, show me your way. I will step into that emotional chaos and lead you like a father taking his little child by the hand through the night. And, my child, as you begin to look at your feelings with honest eyes, you will see that many things do not spring from your heart, but from lies you have believed about yourself. Those voices have made you choose things that were never meant for you, environments that only drain you further. People who see only your outer self, but not the soul I am guarding within. If you continue to let emotions lead, you will lose not only your calling but also the true worth I placed in you from the beginning of creation. But, my child, as you start to step out of the maze of your emotions, my light will help you see more clearly the road you are to walk, and this will bring you to a deeper place where I long to speak to you, that I am still waiting for you to enter the realm of my intervention, where everything old within you will be restored little by little. My child, I do not uncover your signs of weakness to shame you or to confuse you. I do it because I know your soul needs a gentle, yet strong call to rouse you from the weariness you have stayed in for too long. You do not realize that you have been living in a hidden resignation, because everything has been happening too slowly, too softly, too familiarly. But I see it clearly. The heart that once burned now only flickers. The dreams I planted in you that were once vibrant now lie still like seeds waiting to be touched. My child, today I want to stir you, not to frighten you, but to remind you that I have never stepped away from your journey. And I want you to step out of the place where you are worn out, so that you can enter the part of my intervention I have already prepared. My dear child, you think you are tired because I am silent. But in truth, you are tired because you have drifted from me in your heart. There are times you pray out of habit, yet your heart stands outside the very words you speak. There are times you read scripture but do not hear my voice, because your mind is filled with the noise of worry, comparison, and self-reproach. I do not blame you. I understand you. When you walk too long in your own strength, you will grow weary. When you try to hold everything together without leaning on me, you will grow tired. My child, you are not exhausted because I am far from you. You are exhausted because you have let disappointment stand between us. Just let your heart shift one beat toward me, and I will immediately reach out and restore your soul. My child, I see that you have misjudged yourself simply because you do not look at yourself through my eyes. You see yourself as not enough. but I see you as wonderfully made. You see yourself as small, but I see a soul greater than the fear you are carrying. You see yourself as a failure, but I see a journey being carefully refined. Jesus once called Peter in the very moment of his deepest failure when he had just denied his Lord. Yet I did not look at him through his mistakes. I looked at him through what I had placed within him. And I want you to know that is how I see you. When you label yourself as worthless, you step back from my plan, not because I have rejected you, but because you are rejecting your own true worth. You need only to look at yourself again with my eyes, and you will see that you still have your full place in my heart. My child, the dreams I once planted in you have not died, they are only waiting for their appointed season. You hastily called them illusions, simply because they have not yet taken shape. But a seed does not die when it lies in the dark soil. It is simply preparing to sprout at the time I have ordained. You think your old dreams no longer matter, but in truth, they are still alive within you, only tired from being buried under layers of doubt. If you let me breathe a fresh breath upon you, the things you thought were lost will live again. I can raise up what has been broken. I can call to life what has been asleep. My child, do not be quick to close a door I have never shut. Do not call an end to what I am only holding back for a time, because you are not yet ready to receive the fullness of the blessing. And my child, now I want to invite you to stand before a very real choice. Not to test you, but to set you free. You can go on sighing and living a faded life, still existing but not advancing, still praying but without hope, still doing what is right but with no fire left inside. Or you can come closer to me. Just a single step, and your gray zone will turn into a new turning point. I do not ask you to run, to be strong, to be perfect. I only ask you to take a deep breath and say to me, Father, here I am. When you say this, the invisible line between resignation and calling will disappear, and you will recognize my intervention touching every detail of your life. My child, it only takes one step back toward me, and I will do the rest. My child, let me lead you deeper into the moment where your soul now stands in the midst of this unveiling, where light is slowly piercing through each thin layer of mist covering your heart, where things that once seemed shattered begin to gleam with a new meaning. This phase is not a sudden event, nor a dramatic jolt. It is a quiet yet powerful transformation, like the dawn that drives away the night without needing a sound. Only the persistence of shining into a place long accustomed to darkness. Look closely, there are days when you think you are lost, but in reality you are only walking through a narrow hallway to step into a wider space. There are hours when you feel empty, yet that emptiness is the very space I have carved out to receive something new. In the moments when you feel abandoned, in truth that is when I am redirecting your path, changing positions, rearranging what no longer belongs to the future. I am preparing for you. And when the mist lifts, when the weight of the darkness becomes transparent, you will understand why I needed you to go through this stage before you could receive the fullness of the blessing. My beloved child, the place where you feel weakest is precisely where I am preparing to cloak you with enduring strength, a strength that does not need display, does not need to prove itself, does not need to be loud. This strength is not the kind that makes you unshakable in every storm, but the kind that enables you to stand firm even while the wind still blows, the waves still pound, and you still do not see the shore. It is the strength of one who has tasted weariness, yet has not given up, the strength of one who has fallen, yet refuses to let that fall define them, the strength of one who knows I am at work, even when the natural eye cannot see it. And then you will see how what seemed like failure becomes a launching pad. What you thought was closed will open into a new direction. The cracks you once tried to hide will become openings where my light slips in. From those very weaknesses, you will see yourself as different, as real, and as beautiful in the way I have always seen you. My child, remember that the fractures you fear are not proof of ruin, but signs that your soul is soft enough to be transformed, wide enough to receive, honest enough to meet me in wholeness. When your layers of self-protection begin to fall away piece by piece, do not panic. I do not come to pierce through you and then abandon you. I come to touch the parts you have hidden away, the parts you dare not speak of, even to yourself. You think strength means building a hard shell around your heart, but to me, true strength lies in daring to let me step into the corners you believe no one can ever be allowed to see. Pressure is not the enemy. It is merely the tool I use to separate you from what no longer belongs to you. Useless things, old habits, the patterns of thought that cause you to shrink yourself. All of these will fall away when you allow me to reshape the deepest part of who you are. And before long, you will see yourself shining, but not with a brightness polished by the effort to impress. This light comes from within, from a genuine encounter with me, from the times you have sat with your pain and allowed me to touch it. When a soul encounters the truth about itself in my gaze, it becomes beautiful in a way no one else can imitate, gentle yet strong, humble yet radiant, at peace yet burning with fire. The purpose you once left sleeping in your heart will begin to rise, no longer held back by the stagnation of the past. What you thought was dead has really only been asleep. What you thought was lost has really only been kept safe from the wrong times. And my child, my angels have already begun to move. Assignments that once seemed frozen are being rearranged by my hand. There are forces you cannot see that are slowly loosening their grip on you. Patterns that used to repeat forms of disappointment. Cycles of pain are beginning to crack in ways you do not yet perceive. Just one shift in your heart can set an entire sky in motion. And then you will see hope return, not a reckless, impulsive hope, but a mature hope. Steady, rooted, deep. Doors that once shut in your face will open softly, as if they had never resisted you at all. You will meet the people you need to meet, at the right time, in the right setting. Nothing is random. No appearance is accidental. Everything is fitting together according to the timing I have chosen. Yet the most precious thing will not be the open doors, nor the new opportunities, nor the return of favorable circumstances. The greatest thing you will discover is me. When your way of seeing is renewed, when your heart is no longer distorted by emotion, when your eyes are no longer veiled by old disappointments, you will see me more clearly. And when you see me more clearly, everything else will change as well. You will no longer look at the world through fearful eyes, but through the eyes of one who knows they do not walk alone. You will no longer choose what is easy merely to feel a fragile sense of safety. But you will choose what is right because you know I am always beside you. You will no longer live like someone striving to be accepted, but like someone who has been loved long before you ever knew what good enough was supposed to mean. Walk with me, my child. I will lead you through lands you have never known, the doors you once believed you would never be worthy to cross. I will open, not so that you may be applauded, but so that the meaning within you may have room to blaze forth. The words you thought you could never speak, I will place on your lips when the moment comes. The resources you believed you could never reach, I will place in your hands when the time is right. My generosity is not measured by your merit. I give, not because you deserve, but because you belong to me. And when I give, I do not give sparingly. I pour out until your vessel can no longer contain it. Tonight, my child, is a milestone, not because your circumstances have changed, but because you are changing, because your heart is choosing once again where to place its trust, because you are choosing to rest in me instead of fighting on your own, because you are choosing to hope even when your eyes see nothing yet. Those quiet decisions that no one knows about, that no one witnesses, mark a turning point greater than any grand event recorded anywhere. I see them all, and I know how deeply they matter. I do not act at random. Everything I do has a purpose. I restore what is broken. I redeem what seems lost. Not a single tear of yours is wasted. Not a single scar is meaningless. Not a single stumble is useless. All of it will become stories worth telling. Beautiful chapters you would never have imagined you would one day give thanks for having lived through. And my child, as I continue to speak to your heart, remember that this movement began long ago before you even knew you would one day need it. What you can see with your eyes is only the smallest fraction of what is unfolding in the spiritual realm. Every one of my plans is on time, and no amount of chaos can unsettle me. Every detail of your life, each breath, each intention, each turn, each fear, each moment you wanted to give up is held beneath my steady, unwavering attention. My child, I have never taken my eyes off you, not for a single second. I only need you to turn back so you can know this. Come, take one more step, and I will do the rest. My beloved child, you do not realize that even the steps you thought were misdirections are being used by me as material to build you up. Every time you turn down a path that seems different from what you thought I wanted, I quietly reach out to adjust your course, like a patient father guiding his little ones step by step so they do not stumble into danger. You think you are lost, but I know exactly every place your feet have trodden and every stretch of time you have had to stand still. When you stand at a crossroads, confused because you do not know which way to go, you often think it is a sign that I am silent or not leading. But no, my child, those hazy moments are precisely when I am rearranging the road so that you will not have to walk into places that would wound your soul. The long waits that seem pointless are in fact spaces I grant you, so that you may be protected from things you are not yet ready to face. If you could see the full extent of what is moving in the unseen realm around your life, your knees would surely tremble, and your heart would not be able to bear the weight of that reality. My angels continue to surround your life with unceasing vigilance. But in love, I do not allow you to see all that they are doing. They do not stand still in one place, nor do they simply watch from a distance. They plunge into battles you know nothing about, extinguishing arrows aimed at you before they can reach you. There are nights when you toss and turn, thinking that anxiety is choking your soul. Yet in reality, someone I have sent is standing right beside your bed, laying a hand upon your heart and soothing what you cannot put into words. There are mornings when you wake in a peace you do not understand. It is because someone from the heavenly realm has watched over you through the night, driving away what threatened to creep into your sleep. You do not see them, but they see you, and they are fulfilling the assignment I have given them to guard you from what is beyond your strength. Look back on what has happened in your life, and you will see that the times which seemed like missing out, lost opportunities, or arriving too late have all carried a deeper purpose. Those very moments when you wept, when you were tense, when you thought everything was over, were the moments when I sent my messengers to step in front of a decision which, if you had followed your own will, would have led your life into a place of deep darkness. Many think that angels appear only in miraculous hours, but for you they are present even in the most ordinary seconds. They stand between you and the things that want to devour your hope. They lift your hands when you no longer have strength to pray. They gather up the tiny fragments of your heart each time you are disappointed, so that they do not have time to harden into bitterness. Their care is never accidental. It is intentional, strategic, and filled with love. I want you to remember a man whose faithfulness once reached all the way into heaven, Daniel. In days when the kingdom was full of oppression and everything seemed to stand against the righteous, Daniel kept the rhythm of his prayer like his very breath. He did not pray because he demanded to see quick results, but because he knew I was still listening, even when everything around him was dark. Do you know this? His prayers did not drift into a vague emptiness. They went straight into an invisible battle that no one could see. Daniel did not realize that the moment he opened his mouth to ask, the answer had already been sent. But on the way, the messenger carrying that answer was blocked by a powerful force. That confrontation lasted 21 days. And every day Daniel continued to pray, continued to believe, continued to keep his heart unmoved. At last I sent Michael, one of the commanders of the heavenly armies, to shatter the resistance. It was Daniel's perseverance that allowed my intervention to be revealed at exactly the right time. My child, when I tell you this, it is not so that you will compare yourself with Daniel, but so that you may see that many times, when you think I am delaying, the heavens are actually moving on your behalf. There are prayers you whisper in exhaustion, assuming they are only sighs dissolving into the air, yet each sigh carries a sacred weight. My messengers are not sitting idly, waiting for me to command before they act. They are constantly in motion within realms you cannot see. The silence you hear is not absence. It is the quiet of battles you are not yet able to behold. You see only time passing slowly, but I see an entire universe shifting to arrange all things at their appointed time for you. Consider another story, no less profound. A simple young girl named Mary. The world did not value her, but heaven knew her name well. When the time was ripe for the plan of salvation to unfold, I sent Gabriel to her. He carried a promise that had been nurtured through many generations, a promise that would turn the course of history. Gabriel did not come amid a holy atmosphere or a crowded place, but in the stillness of a very ordinary day. The words he spoke to Mary shook all of heaven. She would bear the Savior. I knew Mary trembled, for that message was far beyond the understanding of a young girl from a small village. Yet in the midst of her confusion, she did not run, did not resist, did not search for excuses. She spoke only one sentence, "I say yes." And that single sentence was enough to open the way for every prophecy to step into the moment I had appointed. My child, what I want you to realize is that my presence and the work of heaven does not depend on how special your circumstances are or how perfect you are. You do not need to be Daniel, and you do not need to be Mary. I only ask that you stand in the place that is yours, with your honest heart, and speak to me the smallest of words, "I am here." When you say that, even trembling, you are opening the way for me to intervene. When you choose to let me be involved in your life, you are untying what I have long prepared so that it may arrive at the appointed time. And my child, what I want to tell you next is very important. You do not realize that you are living in a moment of transition. The old things are closing, and new things are being formed. Even though you do not yet see them, you feel as if everything is changing far too slowly. But in truth, each stone is being set in its proper place. My messengers have never left their posts. I've never changed my mind about you. What you are calling silence is in fact the time when I am driving the roots of your faith deeper, so that when the great winds blow, you will not be uprooted. You call it delay, but I call it preparation. You call it standing still, but I call it strengthening. You call it gloom, but I call it shelter. My beloved child, let all that I have spoken here become a gentle wind that passes through your soul, reminding you that everything I do is out of love. I will never abandon you in the darkness. I will never ignore even the smallest cry of your heart, and I will never allow a single prayer to fall to the ground unnoticed. Everything is being taken up into a process that is not always easy to understand, but is always precise, always full of meaning, and always directed toward the very best portion reserved for you. My beloved child, listen deeply, for what I am about to say to you is not only to comfort you, but to open another layer of meaning for the very journey you are carrying within you. The covenant of obedience, the yes that Daniel and Mary expressed when they stood before my invitation, caused all of heaven to resound with a quiet rejoicing, like waves spreading through the unseen realm. That joy was not a simple, pleasant feeling, but the joy of a purpose being activated, of a new chapter opening in my endless plan for human lives. Daniel knelt in trembling. Mary bowed in fear, yet in trust. Two different stories, two different postures, two different moments in time, but one common point. They both handed me the right to direct their lives. And when they agreed, when they said, "Let it be done to me according to your word," every movement in the heavens shifted. The messengers did not only bring my word to them, they also began to reshape the paths ahead so that what I had promised could take form within the time and space of humanity. Do you know this? The same thing is happening in your life. Even if you do not hear or see an angel standing before you, your decisions, however slow, hesitant, or trembling, are stirring a quiet movement in the spiritual world. You are not being placed on a scale to be compared or condemned. You are simply being moved into your true position on the sacred map I wove for you before you were ever in your mother's womb. That adjustment may confuse you, for it pulls you away from what is familiar, asks you to leave places you once leaned on, and invites you into territories where you have never yet set foot. But my child, these things are not punishment, they are preparation. I am not drawing you out of what you know in order to make you lost. I draw you because your path is turning in a new direction, and I need you to stand in the very place I have appointed. All this time, my angels have been guarding your steps, often standing between you and dangers you never even knew were there. You do not see them, but they have blocked foolish choices you almost made in moments of weakness. They have held back opportunities that seemed good, but were in truth traps. They have pulled you away from people who, if you had remained closely tied to them, would have wounded your soul. There have been nights when it seemed you simply fell asleep in your weariness. Yet fierce battles were being fought all around you, and you were at peace only because they fought on your behalf. You thought I was silent, but in reality I had sent them ahead of you to quiet the noise of fear inside you and to keep peace around your life, even when you believed you were walking the wrong way. And now, my child, those messengers are preparing the new stage into which you are about to step. I will not let you walk alone. I will not let you grope in the dark without guidance. At times you ask why everything in your life seems to be changing so quickly. Certain doors close for reasons you do not understand. Some relationships end without a clear explanation, and paths that once seemed ripe suddenly turn into dead ends. You see chaos, but I see arrangement. You see loss, but I see preparation. You see delay, but I see intervention being activated. The angels only do what I command. And when I decree that your journey is moving into a new season, everything in heaven and on earth begins to shift to make room for what is coming. My child, everything in your life moves to a rhythm I have already set. Nothing arrives earlier or later than the moment it is needed. When you think I am late, in truth, you simply cannot see the work taking place behind the invisible curtain. My time is not like your time. You count the days, but I count the moments of growth in your soul. You want me to act as soon as your heart hurts. I want you to endure so that your heart will be strong enough to receive what is coming. I do not rush, because I am never short of time. And I do not procrastinate, because I am never uncertain. Everything is weighed, measured, and arranged within my infinite wisdom. You think that the trials you have passed through were only meant to drag you down. But my child, those harsh roads were not punishment, they were a furnace. The heat of the desert once dissolved the illusions of Israel. Yet that same heat made them stronger and taught them to trust me day by day. Fire is not there to burn you up. but to refine you. The pains you have recently endured were not only to bring you to tears, but to teach you things you could never learn in easier days. Do you know why precious metal must pass through fire? Because only in the fire do the impurities rise to the surface, where the craftsman can remove them. I do the same with you, not to harm you, but to make you more precious than you believe yourself to my beloved child. What you call weariness, I see as cracks that are about to receive a new light. What you call delay, I call timing. What you think is an ending, I see as the beginning of a new chapter. You cannot see everything, because you are looking with the eyes of a wounded human being. But I see with the eyes of the one who has already written the final part of your story. And in that ending you do not fall. You do not lose your calling. You do not slip out of my plan. You rise stronger, deeper, brighter. And now, as you are reading these words, do not think that you are here by accident. You are in the exact moment in which I want to tell you, do not be afraid to step into your own new season. I have gone before you. I have watched over you. I have prepared the ground for you to sow, the road for you to walk, the opportunities for you to take hold of. I have never left you to fight alone, nor have I ever asked you to be stronger than you can bear. You only need to take one step. I will take care of the rest. Do not cling to resignation any longer. My child, it only pulls you away from what I have written for you from the beginning. Turn back toward me with just one breath, and you will realize that everything is shifting not against you, but to open for you the new door you have long been waiting for. My child, I want you to sit with me for a moment, because what I am about to say will be like a fresh wind blowing into places within you that have been dry for a long time. You have thought you were stuck in an endless process where nothing changes except a weariness that grows with each passing day. But in truth, refinement does not go on forever as you imagine. It has an end point, a moment of transition, an instant when I rise and speak, and everything that has been still suddenly comes to life. Do you know why I prolong some trials while others end more quickly than you ever expected? Because each soul is trained according to a rhythm that I, myself, have measured. And that rhythm is never wrong. When I see that it is enough, when I behold in you what needed to be formed, that process will close, not earlier, not later, and never forgotten halfway. Right now you are standing at that very crossroads of seasons, the stage in which my messengers are beginning to move, even though your eyes do not yet see it. Your soul has surely already sensed that something is about to change. Pay attention. My child, when I speak, my messengers are never late. They do not come because of your desperation, but because of my arrangement. Just as on the day Abraham raised the knife over his beloved son, a moment that seemed far too late to save anything, yet in that very instant, when hope appeared to be gone, the call of the angel rang out, swift and decisive, shattering the suffocating atmosphere of the test. I had prepared the ram caught in the thicket long before Abraham climbed the mountain. That means provision is never my last-minute thought. It is always prepared beforehand, waiting only for the appointed time to be revealed. And, my child, the trials you are facing are the same. I have not let you wander into a dead end. I am leading you to a place where, at a single command, my messengers will move to redirect everything in your life. Help is not as far away as you imagine. It is standing just behind the veil of time, waiting for my word. You know, Abraham had no idea that I had already prepared the ram. He only knew that he had to walk in faith, even though every step he took was trembling. You also do not know what I am preparing ahead of you, because I do not want you to become someone who only believes in what can be seen. I want you to be like Abraham with a steadfast heart of faith, even when the moment of trial seems to squeeze the breath from your chest. But here is the difference. Abraham stopped his hand because I intervened at the right moment. So will you. You are not called to sacrifice what I have given you, but to witness how I protect it, strengthen it, and make it more alive than at first. Your trials are not designed to destroy you, but to bring forth the best within you, what I planted in you from the very beginning. My child, I see many of you wanting to let go of something I placed in your heart long ago, a dream you have prayed over for many years, a calling that seems vague but keeps echoing whenever you become still, a direction that once made you come alive but now feels like a tired shadow. You want to leave it behind because you no longer see any way forward. But my child, when you cannot see the path, it does not mean the path does not exist. Sometimes I deliberately allow you to see nothing in order to test your heart. Do you hold on to it because of me, or only because you think it is likely to succeed? And I say to you, do not rush to conclude anything in a state of exhaustion. You are not allowed to write judgments over your own life when you are at the lowest point of your emotions. Breathe slowly. Do not write the final period when I have not placed the end mark. What I have placed within you is still alive. That dream is still breathing, still moving in the darkness where I am shaping it to fit you in the new season. The hope you thought had died is in fact only sleeping. You will see it again when I say, enough now. It is time, my child. There are also some among you who feel as though you are locked in a room whose walls keep closing in. You think someone has locked you in. You think life is pressing you down. You think I have abandoned you in a desolate place. But remember Peter in the prison. He was not confined because I had forsaken him, but because I was about to reveal my power in a way no one expected. In the darkness, Peter slept, not because he was in despair, but because he entrusted his sleep into my hands. Then an angel appeared, touched him. The chains fell off by themselves. The doors opened of themselves, and he walked out as one who has just awakened from a strange dream. There was no struggle, no breaking down of walls, no striving. Freedom came as gently as a breath. Do you see, my child, when I intervene? Chains do not need a key to be unlocked, they simply fall. When I move, the doors do not need you to push them, they move on their own. When I want to bring you out, there is no force powerful enough to hold you back. And my child, that is exactly what I am doing in your life. Even if you cannot see it clearly, each invisible cord that has held you back all these years is loosening. The things that once made you think, I cannot go any further, are losing their power. The limitations you mistook for destiny, harsh words spoken over you, painful memories, recurring disappointments are falling away little by little. You thought they were a part of who you are, but in truth, they are only dust that has settled on your soul. When I send my wind, the dust will scatter. When I touch you, what once clung so tightly will let go. I do not send my angels to negotiate a half freedom. I send them to proclaim that you are completely free, not temporarily, not conditionally, but free to the very roots. But you must also walk with me. When the angel led Peter out, he had to stand up. He had to walk. He had to leave through the open gate. So it is with you, my child. When I open the door, do not turn back to what once imprisoned you. Do not cling to memories as though they define you. Do not look back at your failures and call them your identity. Let the past lie in the place where it belongs. You are, my child, not the product of your mistakes. I need you to walk with a new calm, a new steadiness as one who knows clearly that you have been set free by the hand of God, not by your own efforts. The freedom I give cannot be reversed. Once I have spoken, no one can take it away. You only need to move forward, to take one more step, and you will realize that the deliverance I have prepared for you is never partial. And my child, I say this with the tenderness of a father. You are drawing near to a season in which I will reveal the things you have waited for, the things you have wept over, the things you thought you would never touch. You will not enter this new season in panic, but in peace. You will not walk with the fear of being hurt, but with the assurance that I am going before you. From here on, your journey will no longer be made of trembling steps as before, but of the footsteps of one who knows they are being led, knows they are being protected, knows they carry purpose. This is the moment you step out of resignation and into my intervention. This is the moment you recognize that I have never been silent. I have only been waiting for the right time to show you all that I have prepared: restoration, provision, deliverance, and even doors you never thought would open. My child, let me lead you deeper into what I am whispering in your heart. Because what you are going through is not just a few vague emotions or minor disturbances in these recent days. They are not random fragments of life, nor are they events that simply come and go, but signals telling you that a new territory in your spiritual life is opening. The accounts you read, the stories from Scripture you have heard since childhood, and even the signs you have begun to notice in your own life, all of these are not merely old lessons for you to know for their own sake. They are a mirror reflecting the reality you are stepping into. What I once did with my faithful servants is still happening today in your life, in ways that are quiet yet no less powerful. You think you are merely rereading a story, but in truth, it is an invitation for you to recognize that you yourself are living in a similar chapter, with purposes, trials, and graces uniquely prepared for you. My child, in the unseen realm where physical eyes cannot look, decisions concerning your journey are being discussed, arranged, and proclaimed. These things are not symbolic or metaphorical. They are truly taking place. There, your name is spoken not because you are strong or perfect, but because you have kept going even when you were so exhausted you felt you could not take another step. New pages are being written in the book that bears your name, not a book of your sins, but a record of quiet faith, of the times you chose to rise when no one saw you, of the moments you stayed faithful in silence, of the times you still chose what was right when your feelings wanted to pull you away. Every small choice, every brief prayer, every sigh in which you still whisper, "Lord, I believe," is being woven into this chapter. And it is precisely because of these hidden things that help has been sent, in the perfect order of the spiritual realm, to lift you up and give you enough strength to carry what is greater and drawing near. My beloved child, you have asked me to lead you into things that are deeper, broader, and more mature, and I have heard, but more always carries the weight of growth. You have asked to step into my plan, then you must also be prepared to stand firm within that plan. You have asked to be used by me, then you need to be more resilient and steadfast than you have ever been. I allow pressure to come not to crush your soul, but to awaken qualities that, without trials, would remain forever dormant. Pressure is only a tool for me to strip away from you the unnecessary heavy layers, so that you may step into the new place lighter and freer. You are not being forced to become strong. You are being shaped into the version of yourself that I have seen from eternity, the version you never dared to believe you could become. My child, you are not only a receiver, you are becoming a channel of blessing. The change within you is not only for your own benefit, but to flow out to those whom I place within the orbit of your life. There are souls you will meet who need precisely the light you are about to carry. There are places you will pass through in the coming season where you will be the point of connection through which blessing spreads further. Therefore, my messengers are preparing the road for you, arranging encounters that, without my hand, you would never have had the chance to experience. Some will come to encourage you. Some will come to test you. Some will come only to pass on a word or a look, that helps you understand more of the intention I hold for you. Treasure every meeting, no matter how small or insignificant it seems, for in my plan, the things that appear the smallest often open the greatest doors. And my child, before long you will find yourself receiving ideas and revelations unlike the everyday thoughts you once had. They will come suddenly, clearly, as pure as the first dew of the morning, carrying the breath of something beyond the boundaries of your own thinking. Do not take them lightly, and do not be quick to dismiss them. Write them down. Keep them as a farmer keeps precious seeds. Some ideas will be mere whisperings of invitation. Some will be clear directions. Some will be seeds of great changes for which you will later give thanks. They are not mere imagination. They are gifts I am sending to prepare you for the new season, a season that will require you not only to walk with your feet, but to walk with the vision of your spirit. I am also sending my messengers not only to arrange the path, but to soothe the weariness you have tried to hide. Do you think I do not see? I see every moment when you are so drained you want to let go of everything. I see the emptiness in your heart when your efforts seem to bring no immediate results. I see even the tears you quickly wipe away at night and the questions you hide in silence because you are afraid I do not want to hear them. But my child, I see through it all, and I know you need restoration. Even my only son, the Anointed One, after 40 days in the wilderness, needed angels to minister to him. How much more would you need my care? I will not allow weariness to extinguish the flame I have placed within you. I am sending help to lift you up when your legs are trembling. My child, your time of recovery is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that I am preparing you for a new calling. The fire within you has not gone out. It only needs to be fanned by a fresh wind. And I promise you this, that fire will blaze again. Not like a candle trembling in the wind, but like a torch forged through trials, burning steadier and stronger than before. You will not merely go on living, you will live more deeply, more clearly, more fully. You will find yourself returning with a heart that is more stable, gentler, and more seasoned. As you step into the new season I am opening before you, and then you will understand that every pressure, every delay, every weariness, every breaking of the previous season was only a stepping stone to lead you into a more radiant chapter of the journey you were created to live. Beloved child, you are not lost, you are being led. You are not depleted, you are being poured into. You are not going the wrong way, you are being shaped. And everything I am doing, I do because I love you with a love that never wavers. If you will only take one step toward me, if you will only whisper one small word to me, I will bring you into the realm of my intervention, the place where all that is old will be set in order. All that is weary will be healed. All that is unfinished will be made new. And all that you thought was lost will be called back to life. I am waiting for you, my child, to step with me into the most beautiful part of the story I have written for you from eternity. My beloved child, let me lead you deeper into something you have never dared to imagine, that I am not merely touching one small corner of your life, but reshaping the entire flow of your soul in ways you could never envision on your own. I am not repairing a single broken piece. I am redefining the whole spiritual inheritance you will leave to those who will walk after you. The trials you have passed through, the tears you thought belonged only to you, are in fact gateways through which blessing will flow to others. For there are battles you thought were yours alone, but in truth, I allowed you to go through them first, so that you would become a forerunner, so that more fragile souls could walk behind you without being bound as you once were. Every time you rise again, you are shaking the invisible chains surrounding your family, your generation, even those you do not know but who will taste freedom because of your perseverance. My child, what I am doing in you never stops with you. I want you to understand that this has never been the end of the story. What you are seeing is only the curtain being drawn aside for the first time, so that you can gently glimpse the light I am bringing in the cracks that once made you ashamed. My light seeps out the strongest. In the places you once hid because of shame, I let my light enter, like a potter patiently pouring gold into the fractures to turn an ordinary vessel into a treasure. You thought the cracks left you misshapen, but in truth, they are what make you a unique bearer of my glory. You do not need to piece yourself together into a flawless version. You only need to let me shine through the very gaps you once tried to cover. My light does not only shine outward, my light restores the inner parts you once thought were lost for good. When I say I am not finished, it means there is still so much you have not yet seen, not yet understood, not yet opened. And, my child, I want you to walk with a courage that does not come from yourself. You do not need to exaggerate your strength, nor do you need to pretend to be strong. True courage comes when you know that my angels are going before you, standing beside you, and guarding behind you in every moment you cannot see. You are not alone. Even when you feel that you are, I have placed unseen guardians by your side, and they do not only watch, they also fight for you in the battles you have no strength to fight. Do not think that the words you speak or the actions you take in the smallness of your day are meaningless. My spirit is flowing through them, carrying life that you do not always recognize. You only need to take one small step at a time with a humble heart, and I will do the rest. The strength you carry is not loud, not dramatic. It is quiet, yet as solid as a rock, because it comes from me and not from your shifting emotions. You are surrounded by countless unseen supports that you cannot count or see, yet they are working without ceasing. The prayers of those who love you, the moments when angels have held back harm from coming near you, the times I have turned you away from decisions that would have pulled you off your calling, all of these are quietly keeping you standing firm. When you feel your legs trembling, remember that you are being upheld by a strength that never runs dry, the same strength that has sustained countless souls through their deepest nights. Do not be afraid to hope once more. I know that hoping after you have been wounded is the hardest thing of all. I know you once hoped, once dreamed, once waited, and then were disappointed to the point that you no longer wanted to open the door of your heart again. But my child, hope is not a gamble. Hope is the place where I am standing, waiting, calling you to come closer. I have not finished writing this chapter of your life. There has not been a single moment when I let go of your hand. Not a single plea of yours has been ignored. Not a single tear of yours has fallen to the ground without my gathering it up. The unseen realm, the world you cannot see, has already begun to move in your favor. When I touch one thing, everything connected to it begins to tremble as well. This turning has already begun. You may not see it yet, but you will begin to notice the first shifts in your own heart, then in the atmosphere around you, then in the circumstances outside of you. Be patient like a farmer waiting for the first rains of the season. All that is good is coming closer than you think. My child, my hand is steadily holding you up no matter how the circumstances around you may change. My love for you does not grow weary with time, is not diminished by your failures, and is not faded by distance. When I care for you, it is not a passing act, but an eternal commitment. I look at you with the eyes of a father who knows every fear, every inner struggle, every word you have not yet dared to speak. I do not grow tired of lifting you up. I am not annoyed when you grow weak. I am not disappointed when you need more time. Everything within you matters to me. That is why I want you to believe that the world around you will soon reflect the movements I am making inside you. When your soul is renewed, your circumstances will follow. When you begin to believe what I say, it will be seen in your eyes, in your words, in your choices, and the world will have to adjust itself to what I am doing in you. The road ahead may not be smooth. I will not lie to you and say that every day will be easy. But I promise you this, you will not take a single step without me walking with you. When the path is steep, I will be your sure footing. When you collapse, I will be the arms lifting you up when you are confused. I will be the softest whisper guiding you in the right direction. You cannot see the whole route, but you can see my hand right before you. You only need to take hold of it. Every step you take, however small or trembling, matters to me. For this journey is not about racing to a finish line. It is about you being transformed by my love. And with each step you take, I am rewriting the story of your life with light, with hope, and with strength that comes from heaven. My child, keep walking. The old things are fading away. The new things are taking shape. And I, the one who loves you more than you understand yourself, will never leave you to find your way alone. As long as you believe, as long as you open your heart, as long as you lift your eyes toward me, I will take care of the greater part of everything else. You are not alone. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being led, and I have never not once finished with you. My child, I know that in your heart you are longing for a clear explanation, a guidance bright enough to sweep away the heavy clouds that cover your mind. I see every moment you struggle between trusting me and doubting yourself, between wanting to move forward and fearing you do not have the strength to reach the end of the road. You are trying harder than you think, but in those times when uncertainty pulls your heart in many directions, I want you to pause for a beat and remember this: I have never abandoned anything I have begun in you. There is no journey I lead that ends unfinished. Not one promise I have planted in your heart is forgotten halfway through. You think everything is moving slowly, but I can see the quiet changes inside you that you yourself have not yet noticed. They are not loud or dazzling in the way you expect, but they are real, solid, and enduring. When clarity gently touches your mind, remember this: what I initiate, I am also the one who brings to completion. I did not create you to wander in confusion at a crossroads. I created you to grow, to find yourself in each steady step. Even when you are walking against the wind, you are learning to listen to me in the stillness you once thought was useless. You are learning to walk without leaning on passing emotions. You are opening your heart to be ready for what I am preparing. And that readiness itself is the turning point which, though unseen, is quietly redirecting your destiny. The stages of your life do not appear at random. They unfold when your heart is soft enough to receive them. When the time is right for you to move forward without breaking, I do not want you to step out too early, nor do I want you to lag behind. I want you to walk in the balance that I have set apart just for you. My child, I know you often measure your own worth by what you can see, by visible achievements, by outward recognition. But there are seasons in which you cannot use your eyes to measure your progress, because I am working in the deepest parts of you, places no human eye can see. The subtle adjustments within a renewed thought, a lowered emotion, a facet of your character being refined, an old habit being shaken, all of these are progress. Do not belittle them. A shift in your motive is also a step forward. One small choice at the right moment is also a victory. One time you choose to trust instead of fear is a step that heaven remembers. You think you have gone nowhere, but in truth you are leaving the old ground behind, day by day, without realizing it. The confidence I am building in you is not the kind that comes from outward noise, but a steadiness formed in quiet places when you choose to rise after blaming yourself. When you say, I will keep going while your heart is trembling. When you do not understand everything, yet still walk, trusting that I know where you are going. Your patience is not weakness. It is the mark of someone who knows, who holds their time. And the understanding you are learning is not mere sharp thinking, but the ability to see things through my eyes, to see deeper, wider, and with more compassion. These achievements are seen clearly by no one but me. Yet they are the very things that are opening the way for you to stand in the maturity I have prepared for you. Out there, people look at results, but I look at your heart, and that heart of yours, my child, has come much farther than you think. My child, my work is meticulous and never stays at the surface. I do not come just to pull out one stray weed. I come to heal the very roots that made it grow. I do not only correct actions, I touch motives. I do not only redirect choices, I adjust the way you see. For true change always begins in the place you think no one notices. A soul healed on the inside will radiate peace without forcing it. A renewed heart will know its direction without having to pretend to look right. What I do in you will not end with you. It will spread into the environment where you live. Touch the people you meet. Influence the way you love, the way you respond, the way you live each day. You do not need to prove that you are changing. Time will speak for you. Because real life always reveals itself at the right moment. When you are so tired that you feel nothing is moving, that is when you need most to remember me. You think, my silence means I am doing nothing. But in truth, the very moments when you see nothing happening are often the times I am working most powerfully. I am reconnecting threads you cannot see. I am arranging people, situations, and doors into their right order. I am rearranging scattered pieces so that one day, when you look back, you will exclaim that everything had been prepared perfectly. You see a day pass with nothing new, but I see a series of small changes being positioned to meet at a precise moment. And when that moment comes, you will understand why I needed you to wait, not because you were unworthy, but because what I was preparing was too great to place into your hands while you were still trembling. My child, what I ask of you is not perfection, but openness. I do not require you to always be strong, always right, always cheerful. I only ask that you be honest with yourself and honest with me. For when you are truthful, you give me space to enter. When you tell me you do not know what to do next, you give me room to lead. When you release your need to control everything, I am free to arrange everything in ways you never expected. Your responsibility is not to understand it all, but to keep your heart in a posture of readiness, ready to be led, ready to be healed, ready to begin again if needed, and ready to believe that I am doing more than you can imagine. Let every dawn come to you gently and with openness. Do not step into a new day with a cramped, guarded heart, worrying about what might go wrong. Let each new morning be a reminder that I am going ahead of you, clearing the way for you, and adjusting the things you cannot change by yourself. Trust is not a feeling, it is a choice. And when you choose to trust me each morning, you are placing the first step of your day upon the firmest foundation. You do not need to prepare a script for every possibility. You only need to believe that I have already prepared everything you will need. Dawn does not ask whether you are ready. It still comes. And so do I. I come to you every day, patiently, gently, and without giving up. My child, the most beautiful thing in this journey is not the final outcome, but the inner transformation taking place in you day by day. I am making you into the person I intended you to be from the very beginning. I am setting you free from what is old so that you can step into what is new. I am drawing you out of the zone of resignation to bring you into the sphere of my intervention. And it all begins with something very simple, a heart willing to open so that I may touch it. My beloved child, as your journey enters a new season, I want you to pay close attention to the people who are walking with you. For not everyone who appears in your life is sent to uphold your soul. Some people are only meant to accompany you for a short stretch. And as you grow in my wisdom, the bond with them will naturally loosen. Do not see that as loss or failure. It is simply the way life adjusts itself to keep what aligns with the direction of your soul. I want you to understand that maturity always brings a sifting, and sometimes you must let certain people drift out of your life like boats leaving the harbor when the tide turns. You do not need to cling with regret or sadness. You only need to place your hand over your heart and say, "Lord, if this no longer nourishes my soul, please grant me enough gentleness to let it go." And then you will see that those who remain after all the layers of filtering have passed are the souls I have placed beside you to anchor you in the coming season, a season in which you will need a stronger foundation than you ever imagined. My dear child, when you change even just a little, some relationships will automatically shift in directions you did not foresee. Those who were used to seeing you in an old position will not understand why you no longer fit the mold they had created for you. But do not be confused. Do not resent. Do not doubt yourself. You are not wrong for outgrowing what once fit you, and they are not wrong for no longer recognizing you. This is simply the natural movement of spiritual seasons. I want you to face these changes with gentleness, not with conflict. You can release a hand without hurting anyone. You can step back from a connection without slamming the door shut. Let every shift in your relationships happen like water, quietly changing its course without noise, without force, leaving only clarity and freshness where it passes. And when you release in the right way, you will make room to recognize the new connections I am quietly leading you toward. And, my child, there will also be relationships that grow deeper precisely in the season when you feel most fragile. There are people who do not say very much, yet they appear exactly when your heart sinks. A single sentence, a single look. The quiet presence of such a person is enough to awaken in you the sense of being seen, being understood, being supported. For people like that, cherish them with the sincerest gratitude. Do not treat sacred friendship as something obvious or guaranteed. It is a gift I reserve for those willing to walk the path of spiritual growth. If you find a soul who makes you want to draw nearer to me, that is a sign that I have sent that person to help carry you. Invest your time in the relationships that help you open your heart, that help you look at yourself with tenderness, that help you grow without losing your peace. These kinds of bonds do not merely pass through your life, they help rebuild the parts of you that once seemed irreparably cracked. My beloved child, when shifts in your relationships occur, believe that I am standing behind it all, adjusting, arranging, refining, and building up in the way your soul truly needs. Do not try to hold on to everything, for your hands are not wide enough to carry the whole world. Nor do you need to. Let relationships enter your life as gently as they came, and let them leave with a peace that needs no fanfare. I only want you to hold tightly to kindred hearts, to those who desire what is good for you, to those who love you not because you are perfect, but because you are genuine. A community built on respect and sincerity becomes your most important support when new opportunities arrive, when challenges demand maturity from you, and when you need someone to remind you, you still belong to me, no matter what circumstances you are in. And, my child, amid the constant shifts of life, I want you to keep for yourself the rhythms that nourish your soul. Do not let life sweep you along so fast that you begin to think rest is a luxury. Rest is not an escape. Rest is the moment you place your soul back into my hands so that I can touch the places you have wounded within yourself. A heart that has entered deep rest will be more clear-sighted, more peaceful, and more sensitive to my voice, far more than a heart that only knows how to run after duty. Do not underestimate an empty chair in silence. Do not belittle a morning you spend simply breathing more slowly. Do not dismiss the moments when you pause before moving on. When you choose to let your soul rest, you are preparing yourself for longer, stronger, and deeper steps on the path I am leading you along. My dear one, I also want you to know that living with moderation is not living blandly. It is how you sustain momentum in your spiritual life without burning out in a brief flash and then fading away. Many begin the journey with a fierce flame but end in exhaustion because they do not know how to keep rhythm. A fire that is too strong will burn itself out if it is not sustained by steadiness and cadence. I want you to move at the pace of your soul, not so fast that you collapse, not so slow that you miss the opportunities I bring. Take each step with stability, for the dream I have for you is not a rushed finish line, but a transforming journey, and that journey requires a harmonious way of living, clear space for you to breathe, and a balance that keeps you from drifting away from the center I have placed within you. My child, as you make plans for the future, I do not ask you to cling rigidly to everything you put on paper. Plans give you direction, but flexibility helps you hear my voice more clearly. There will be times when you craft a very sharp strategy, yet I lead you down another path to protect you from something you cannot yet see. I am not destroying your intentions. I am adjusting them so they align more closely with what is best. I want you to learn how to hold your plans the way you hold a flower, firmly enough that it does not fall, but gently enough that you do not crush it. When you allow me to intervene freely in your designs, you will realize that I am not taking good things away from you. I am redirecting them so that what is good may become even better. And when you encounter closed doors, I want you to resist the urge to break them open out of impatience. A door that closes has never been a sign that I have turned my back on you. It is simply how I protect you from what does not belong to this moment. Step back for a while, and let me show you how another door will open quietly. At the very time it truly is your path, you will be surprised to discover that every closing carries a message, a reminder, a guidance as deep as any obvious opportunity. I do not work through noise. I work through gentle things that only those who listen carefully will recognize. My child, listening is exactly what I want you to learn in this season. Listen not only with your ears, but with your whole soul. When you know how to become still, you will no longer waste your strength on things that do not belong to you. You will not have to push, to force, to wrestle with doors that were never meant for you. You will preserve your energy for the opportunities I have already prepared. You will feel my heartbeat in every movement of life. And it is this very listening that will help you keep your peace, your clarity, and your inner strength, the very things you thought you had lost for so long. My child, when night falls gently and the world begins to quiet down, that is also the time when the tender, vulnerable thoughts in you tend to rise more strongly than at any other moment. Darkness does not create fear, but it can magnify the small things in your heart until they seem immense, like a mirror that enlarges everything you have tried to hide. That is why I ask you to guard your mind in those silent hours, like a keeper protecting the last candle in a strong wind. Do not let vague images and exhausted imaginings gain control over your heart. When you allow fears to replay over and over in your mind, they not only grow thicker, but also take root in the deepest parts of your soul. But if you know how to pause, take a slow breath, and let your heart remember the words I spoke to you in the day, words of gentleness, reassurance, and healing, then those very words will weave themselves into a soft blanket, covering your thoughts until gentle sleep finds you. You may not see that restoration immediately, but in the morning, when you open your eyes, you will notice a new point of light in your heart, small but real, because courage often grows in silence, without display or noise, yet strong enough to carry you into another new day. My beloved one, I know there have been many nights when you lay awake, not because your body was restless, but because your mind was overloaded with questions that have not yet found answers. Every person has such hours, but what wearies you more is the way you compare your life with the lives of others. I want you to understand this. No journey is like another, because each soul carries its own stories, wounds, promises, and purposes. You cannot use someone else's measure to weigh your own life, just as no one can use your journey to define theirs. What you call fast, lucky, or easy in others is often only the visible tip of an iceberg that your eyes cannot see beneath the surface. Some things unfold early for one person, but take years of preparation for another, not because you are slow, but because I am building in you a solid foundation. Rejoice for others when they move forward. Do not let envy slip in like an uninvited guest. When you can celebrate their joy, you not only protect your heart from needless scratches, but you also create more room for my grace to touch you more deeply. Genuine encouragement given to one another creates a sacred space where no one has to shrink so that another can grow. In that space, freedom blossoms, and gratitude becomes the gentle air that every soul can breathe. My child, keeping your heart curious is a great gift, because curiosity keeps your soul from freezing in fear or complacency. When you hold an honest question in your heart, bring it to me. Do not hesitate, and do not think that what you do not understand will trouble me. I am not a distant being, waiting for you to polish your words and refine your thoughts. I am your Father, and I love the questions that rise from the truest place within you, even if they are clumsy, tangled, or choked with emotion. When you ask, you open the door for me to go deeper into your mind. When you seek, you are allowing me to teach you things that can only be learned through closeness. The answers I give you may come in many forms: a sudden insight at the right moment, a word of advice from someone you did not expect, a passage of scripture that suddenly comes alive, or even a quiet peace that lets you know your question has been heard. Each time you converse with me, our connection grows stronger, and within that relationship you will see the path I have for you, not through thunderous voices, but through gentle, deep nudges. And, my child, I know you are afraid to ask because you fear the answers will not match your wishes. But trust me, I have never had trembling hands while writing the story of your life, and I will never ask you to take a step I have not taken first. You can ask me about what confuses you, about the dead ends that make you sigh, about the dreams you have buried because you fear disappointment, and I will listen to all of it. This sacred curiosity keeps your heart soft and supple, not locked inside the rigid frameworks that life has taught you. A soul that knows how to ask is a soul that is still alive, still longing, still willing to move forward, and I rejoice when I see you wanting to go on, even slowly, even shakily, even tired, because it means you are still turned toward me. My child, I want you to feel this more deeply. Every thought you cultivate in your heart truly matters, because it not only shapes your emotions but also directs your steps. When you allow worry to take up space in the night, it seeps into your morning and clouds the image of me that I have placed within you. But when you allow my promises to rest in your mind, they touch every breath, every thought, every decision, like fragrant oil that slowly spreads its scent without you noticing at first. The words I speak will gradually soak in, transforming the parts of you that once seemed dry and hardened. And then, one morning, you will find yourself stronger, lighter, and closer to me, all because you chose to keep the right thoughts in the dark. My beloved, every journey is long, but yours is special, because you are not walking it alone. I walk beside you. I hear every breath, every hidden thing, every desire you have not yet dared to put into words. You do not have to run to keep up with me, you only need to step, and I will bring your pace into harmony with mine. Your journey is not delayed, not lost, not abandoned. It is being woven every day through the questions you ask, the prayers you whisper, the moments you choose hope over despair, and even the times you fall yet still desire to rise again. My child, if you knew how I love the way you are trying, you would no longer compare yourself with anyone else. If you knew how I cherish even the smallest of your questions, you would no longer feel shy about asking them. If you knew that I wait for you in every quiet evening, you would no longer let fear rule your mind. And if you knew that every word I speak silently blossoms within your soul, you would never again take lightly the moments when you think of me. You only need to hold on to 3 things. Guard your mind from the dark illusions of the night. Guard your heart from comparisons that shrink you. And keep your spirit of curiosity alive so that I can step more deeply into your life. When you keep these 3 things, you will find yourself entering my light without even realizing when it happened. And there, you will find yourself again more at peace, stronger, and closer to me than ever before. My child, let tonight become the first night of a new journey, where you are no longer afraid of the dark, no longer afraid that others move faster than you, no longer afraid that your questions will go unanswered. For I am here, and I do not leave you. I never have, and I never will. My child, I want to lead you a little further along the journey of your soul, a stretch in which, if you truly allow your heart to open, you will feel the tenderness yet firmness that I have always reserved for you. You have just heard me remind you of the choice you must face. Either you continue to live, fading slowly, or you take one step and turn back toward me. And now, my child, I want to place in your hands an important key, a small path that has the power to move your whole soul. It is the practice of looking at life with eyes of gratitude, not a shallow kind of gratitude, nor forcing yourself to smile while your heart still aches, but an intentional gratitude, a subtle habit that helps your soul learn to see me in the tiniest details. Just as tiny drops of dew on the leaves, though fragile, can still reflect the whole sun. The small things in your day, if you are willing to pause and truly see them, will shine with a strange radiance and lead you toward the light you thought you had lost. My child, when you practice gratitude in this way, the eyes of your soul will gradually change, no longer fixed on what you lack, but turn toward what you already have, what has been given to you, and even what I am quietly preparing. Gratitude is not the denial of hardship. Gratitude is the ability to look through the darkness and see that even a small point of light is still present. As you learn to notice and cherish the little gifts in your day, a deep breath, a kind person, a small and unexpected joy, your soul will be trained to recognize the greater things I will entrust to you in the seasons to come. You do not realize it, but every time you say, "Father, I thank you for this small thing," you are helping your own spirit expand a little more, like opening additional windows so that more light can enter. My child, gratitude is the movement that shifts your heart out of the shadow of scarcity and brings it back into the light of provision and possibility. Gratitude is the key that helps your soul catch its breath again when everything seems too tight and narrow. When the long day comes to a close, I long for you to give just a small moment, but a truly sincere one, to gently look back on the things that are so easily forgotten. Recall one good thing, even if it is as small as someone's nod of comfort, or a fleeting sense of peace for a few seconds while you were resting. You may think such things are too small to matter, but in truth, they are the very seeds that nourish the hope of your soul. When you allow your mind to rest on these good things, hope will be watered and begin to grow. And as hope grows, you will gain the strength to walk through stretches of road you once thought you could never cross. Hope does not appear out of nowhere. It is formed little by little through grateful reflection. My child, I have seen you exhausted to the point of wanting to let go of everything. But I have also seen that with just a tiny ray of hope, you have known how to rise again. That is why I teach you to give thanks, so that the hope within you does not fade away. My beloved child, in my relationship with you, what I value most is not long prayers or polished speeches. I do not need you to perform in front of me. I want you to come to me just as you are, joyful if you are joyful, irritated if you are irritated, confused if you are confused. I welcome even the tangle of emotions that you think you should not bring to me. I can bear your truth. That honesty is the bridge that brings you and me closer than any flawless ritual ever could. My child, when you open your heart and tell me how you truly feel, I do not only listen, I step in and lift you up right where you stand. Beautiful prayers may reach my ears, but honesty touches my heart. I want you to remember this: the power of spiritual growth does not come from hiding the things you consider crooked or wrong, but from daring to place them in my hands. The intense emotions you assume I will dislike, I still receive them. The things you are afraid to say because you think they are too ugly, I still listen to them. I am the Father. I can bear your truth. You do not realize that when you hide your feelings, your soul stores up greater pressure. But when you speak from the heart, you give me room to comfort you, to guide you, and to gently realign you. It is honesty that opens the door for me to carry out the work of healing that no performance could ever bring. My child, on this journey I also want to teach you something many souls often overlook, that the sacred pace is what protects you. In a world that runs too fast, you often think that rushing forward is strength and maturity. But my child, running at the wrong time is more exhausting than standing still. I give you my peace not as a reward, but as a compass. If a door opens but your heart does not carry peace with it, it is not yet the time. If an opportunity comes but there is still unrest within you, wait a little longer. Waiting is not because you lack faith, but because you desire to walk in step with me. When you move according to the inner conviction I give, you will be steady. When you run after the fear of missing out, you will end up wounding yourself. You must believe that the pauses in your life are not punishments. Many people think that slowing down is a sign of failure. But in my sight, these temporary halts are strategies for the long-term growth of your soul. Just as an ancient tree cannot grow through all 4 seasons without moments of stillness for its roots to go deeper, you too need quiet seasons to strengthen your inner being. Do not see silence or slowing down as loss. That is when I am preparing you for a steadier step. When your soul learns to pause at the right time, you will find your decisions becoming clearer and more profound. And when the time is ripe, you will know it. Because the peace within you and the signs outside of you will come into harmony. My child, when you have walked a stretch of the road and reached a certain milestone, I want you to rejoice, to give thanks, to savor that moment as a mark of the companionship between you and me. But I also want you to remember that a milestone is not the finish line. Many souls have stopped and exalted a small success as if it were the whole journey, and then forgotten that I still long to take them further. Give thanks, but do not worship the milestone. Be glad, but do not stay there forever. The journey I have prepared always holds new chapters, new vistas, and deeper graces. You may pause to catch your breath, but do not build your house on temporary victories. You still have a long road ahead to experience far greater things. My child, all that I have spoken to you today, intentional gratitude, honesty in our conversations, walking according to peace, patience in the pauses, and not over-glorifying your milestones, all of this is solid ground under your feet, helping you step into the deeper interventions I have prepared for you. You imagine that I will work miracles only through the greatest of things. Yet I begin by reshaping the small habits of your soul, so that when my grace is poured out, you can receive it without breaking. You only need to walk with me, step by step, not rushing, not afraid, not forcing yourself to be stronger than you are. I am here, always here, and what is coming will always be more, better, and deeper than anything you have ever dared to hope. My child, I am making a way. You need only follow me. My child, let me take you deeper into the meaning of what I have just sown into your heart. For this stage of the journey is not only a time for you to regain strength, but also a time for you to learn to discern the subtle yet decisive difference between contentment and complacency. Contentment is when you give thanks for what you have already walked through, when you treasure the small yet beautiful fruits I have brought forth in you through each trial. Complacency is when your gaze stops there, when you treat those small things as enough to cease growing, to stop listening to me, to stop walking along the path I have already laid out before you. Contentment is like drinking a cool sip of water so you can keep traveling farther, whereas complacency is like pitching a tent by the roadside and declaring that you have already arrived. I invite you to embrace the pure joy of gratitude, but I do not want you to lie down on your old victories, for the calling I have given you never ends at what you have already achieved, even if you feel those achievements have already stretched you to your limits. My child, let gratitude become the gentle step that keeps you moving forward, not the chair you sit on because you think you have enough. Maturity does not grow out of standing still, but out of gratitude intertwined with a vision that looks ahead. When these two walk side by side, the joy of the present and the gaze toward the future, your soul will blossom in the way I have ordained, neither proud nor discouraged, neither hurried nor sluggish. You will walk like someone who knows you are no longer alone, no longer needing to prove anything, no longer afraid of being left behind. For when you know that I am there, every step suddenly becomes lighter, steadier, and more meaningful. My child, in this very moment, take a deep breath, for the words I speak to you tonight will not vanish. They will sink into your heart like raindrops soaking into the earth, and over time they will become a fresh spring on the days when you feel weary. When confusion knocks at the door of your mind, return to these words, for they were not spoken for you to hear once and forget, but to become a foundation whenever your heart begins to tremble. Do not think that I change according to your emotions today or the circumstances you are facing. No, my child, I do not change. My guidance does not wobble. My love does not grow thinner with time. Wherever you go, I continue to look upon you with the gaze of one who knows you better than you know yourself. And as you continue to walk, I want you to carry a very different kind of confidence, a confidence that is not loud, not based on achievements, not dependent on being seen. It is the quiet confidence of one who knows that I am weaving small miracles into each day of your life, not the earth-shaking miracles that make mountains tremble or seas divide, but the ordinary gifts that, precisely because they are ordinary, many people overlook. It is the lingering warmth after an honest conversation where heart meets heart with nothing to hide. It is the gentle comfort when you and those you love break bread together, sharing a meal that is not luxurious, but full of presence. It is the sight of the first rays of morning quietly unfolding across the sky, tinting a corner of the world with soft colors you never notice when your soul is in too much of a hurry. Moments like these, small, simple, quiet, are in fact the ways I come closest to you. No trumpets, no spotlights, no loud announcements. It is precisely their simplicity that gives them a lasting strength, sinking deep into your heart over time. If you allow your heart to rest in these moments, to feel your own breathing slow in the way they invite, you will realize they are gently yet surely lifting your mind. And when you see that what seems so ordinary can have such a profound impact, you will understand something important. I have been with you all along, and you did not know it. There is no need for grand manifestations. No need for miracles that shake the earth. All it takes is a meal you eat with gratitude. A sunrise touching your eyelids. A breath that slows because you are being loved. My child, it is precisely within these seemingly simple things that the joy you can carry for a lifetime is hidden. That joy does not come and go like your emotions. It abides in your soul like a foundation stone. It reminds you that I never give half-hearted gifts, nor do I protect you in a careless way. When you look closely, you will see that such moments are signs that I am giving you exactly what you need, neither too much nor too little. And I am holding steady all that you are afraid of losing: your peace, your inner safety, your steadiness in the days that make no sense. My child, I know there are many days when you long for some great miracle that will change your life in an instant. Yet sometimes the miracle I give you is hidden in the way you begin to feel a very small thing, something you once dismissed. It is not because that small thing is great in itself, but because you are returning to the spiritual sensitivity I have always desired to see in you, the ability to recognize me in what few people notice. When your heart opens in this way, you will see that I am doing far more than you can measure with your eyes. And from there, a deep peace will begin to take root in you, the peace of a heart that knows it does not need to wait for some great event to see me. The peace of a heart that knows I have always been right there. My beloved one, let those small things lead you into true rest. Let them become the rhythm that helps you slow your steps, so you can see, receive, give thanks, and remember that I am still holding your hand. I do not leave you in the night, and I do not leave you in the brightness of day. I am patient with you in ways you cannot imagine, and I keep gently reshaping each of your steps. Believe this, I am guarding what you are afraid of losing. I am comforting what you thought could never be healed, and I am upholding what you have believed is already too late. My child, your contentment is a gift I delight in, but complacency is the place I long to protect you from. For I know your future is wider than what you have just attained. I know the light within you can shine farther than the places where you currently stand. And I know that in every small moment you live fully, you are becoming a little more like me. Let gratitude keep you anchored in peace. Let the vision before you draw you upward, and let my presence become the reality you discern in even the smallest details. Child, let me speak to you about something that seems small yet opens treasures you never expected: the spirit of thanksgiving. Many times you treat gratitude as a polite gesture or a ritual you are obliged to perform, but in truth it is the key I have already placed in your hand to open doors deep within your soul. When you allow words of thanks not only to stay on your lips but to reach into the way you see the world, you will realize you are stepping into a space that is wider, brighter, and far safer. For gratitude is not your attempt to paint over life. It is the true light shining from within to the outside. Every time you pause to notice something good, however small, your soul grows a little, like a seed watered by a single drop of dew after a long night. Those drops of dew, so light and seemingly insignificant, are in fact what keep the soil of your heart from drying out under the quiet trials of life. My child, do not take lightly the moments when you recognize what is precious. These are the pulses of resurrection, beating through the days that seem heaviest. When a soul allows thanksgiving to flow into its hidden corners, something miraculous begins to happen. The dark stains within you start to dissolve. Anxiety gradually loses its power. Sorrow no longer accumulates as before, and even the memories that once felt heaviest become lighter. It is not because everything around you suddenly changes, but because your heart has opened even a small crack for my light to enter. Anything touched by light is transformed. Gratitude does not blind you to reality. It helps you see the truth from a depth you had never known. It turns weariness into understanding, tears into steadiness, and dead ends into unexpected turns you never thought you could take. When you learn to look at a day filled with trials and still whisper, "Thank you that I do not walk through this alone." In that very moment you are giving me permission to touch the deepest part of your life. My child, genuine thanksgiving never wears a showy face. It does not need long phrases, ornate expressions, or even audible words. It only takes a single moment when your heart trembles before some goodness, however small and seen only by you. And that tremor has already reached me. For gratitude is not a sound, it is an inward shaking. It is the acknowledgement that you have not brought everything about by yourself, that behind every blessing and every remaining breath in your life, my hand is upholding you. When your heart is truly grateful, your words cease to be mere formality. They become cool water flowing from a spring that has been opened within you. And that stream can travel very far, far into hearts that seem closed, far into souls that seem unable to hear any comfort, far into places your own strength could never reach. My child, do not hurry past the good things you encounter in your life. Do not merely see and then move on, touch and then forget. Hold them for a little while, so that your heart can sit with them, converse with them, and allow them to reshape the lens through which you see. When you let what is good knock again and again at the door of your mind, it becomes a habit of seeing life by the light instead of by the shadows. Gratitude not only helps you recognize what is good, it helps you recognize that it is I who am present in each moment. A grateful heart recognizes me, hears me, and follows my voice 100 times more easily than a heart that is always demanding more for itself, without pausing to see how much it has already received. When gratitude becomes the rhythm of your life, you will almost unconsciously carry a gentleness, a patience, a wisdom that no one could ever teach you merely with words. My child, gratitude does not only adorn your soul, it lays the foundation for your future. Each time you look back and say to me, "Thank you that I have been kept," you are placing another stone beneath your feet. That stone creates a stability you may not notice at once, but over time, you will find yourself standing on ground that can bear deeper revelations and greater responsibilities. A person without gratitude is like someone standing on sand. Even a light wind is enough to make them waver. But the grateful one stands on rock, because they see everything with a vision wide enough to understand that life is not driven by chance, but by the providential hand leading them step by step. They walk not in self-confidence, but in trust in me, and that trust builds a firmness no trial can break. Gratitude also helps to free you from many burdens you carry without even realizing it. When you are preoccupied with what you do not yet have, you lose the ability to cherish what already belongs to you. But when gratitude opens your eyes, you will see that you are not poor at all. You have simply forgotten to count the heavenly treasures I have placed all around your life. A grateful heart no longer feeds envy and no longer needs to compare itself with anyone else. It no longer chases after human approval, because it has been filled with the awareness that I am smiling upon it. Gratitude makes you free, free from the standards of the world, free from the fear of losing, free from the rush to prove yourself. A grateful soul does not need applause, for it has already heard me calling it by name. When you let gratitude touch your words and your expression, others will sense something in you they cannot easily describe. They will perceive a peace flowing from you like the warmth of a candle burning in a dark room. You do not need to speak much about your faith. At times, a grateful look carries more power than a long sermon. For faith is not only in what you say, but in the way you live, the way you face hardship, the way you breathe out a word of thanks, even when dark clouds cover the sky. That simplicity has a weight that nothing else can replace, because it is your truth, the truth that you know you are loved, held, and cared for. My child, let gratitude become the gentle breath you carry throughout the day. Do not hide it out of embarrassment. or for fear of being misunderstood, or of being considered too simple. Simplicity does not mean shallowness. Simplicity is depth that has been cleansed of useless complications. And that very simplicity opens doors that calculation never can. You do not know how far your gratitude can travel. It may reach someone in despair, lift another out of a sadness you do not know they are carrying, or turn a dark day into one filled with hope. Every word of thanks you utter, however small, sows a seed into the very ground you will stand upon. And in time, you will see that ground become firm and solid, ready to bear the greater graces I long to give you. My beloved child, do not treat gratitude as something extra. See it as the foundation for how you live in my truth. For gratitude is the language of those who believe that I am at work even when their eyes see nothing. And if you allow that language to flow into every smallest part of your life, you will find yourself standing on ground that nothing can shake. My beloved child, I want you to sit with me for a while, as when a father lays his hand on his child's shoulder and speaks what that child needs to hear, not what the world expects it to hear. Open your heart like a small door, so that the gentle wind of grace can slip in. For today, what I want to say to you is not a command and not a dry lesson. It is the soft murmur, the quiet whisper of the one who has loved you before time began and who still watches every smallest movement of your life. Cherish every grace, whether you see it clearly or only sense it faintly like a passing warmth, for no good thing that comes from me ever passes uselessly. There are blessings so large that you notice them at once, but there are also blessings so small that you think they are only coincidences. Yet, my child, in my kingdom there is no such thing as chance. Everything that comes to you, whether it is someone's word of comfort, an unexpected embrace, a smile that lightens the heart of the one before you, or a peace too deep to name, all of these I have stitched into the path you walk as quiet signs, to remind you that you have never walked alone. Do you know? Sometimes a single sentence you consider ordinary becomes the lifeline that keeps someone from sinking deeper into their dark day. A gentle gesture you deem too small to make a difference can be the final drop that gives someone's heart enough peace to go on. A nod that listens, an ear that opens when the person before you is trembling in loneliness. These things may seem like light footsteps on grass, but in my world they set in motion movements stronger than thunder. All of these I have placed in your hands like sturdy lanterns along the road you travel. Each time you choose love, that lantern glows a little brighter. Each time you choose kindness instead of judgment, its flame grows steadier. Each time you choose to listen rather than turn away, that light spreads farther into the night. Today, my child, there is yet another light resting in your hands. Do not consider it fragile or dim. It is not something easily swept away by the wind or extinguished by the night. This light has been placed in you by my own delicacy, and it is strong enough to stay with you through stormy days and blazing days of sun. Keep this gift close, for it is not only to illumine your own path, but to awaken light in the people you touch. Let this light tint every step you take, every decision you make, every word you speak. When you act from the light I have given you, everything you do, even the smallest thing, becomes a living prayer. And when dawn comes, when a new day unfolds before you like a wide, pure, white cloth, I want your very life to become a thanksgiving louder than any song or banner. You do not have to speak much for others to know you are grateful. Your presence, the way you live, the way you love, the way you are patient, all of these can give voice to gratitude more powerfully than words. Meet others with the kindness you have received from me, as you remember the moments when I have touched you in the sacraments, in silence, in crisis, in lostness. You will be able to pass on to them what you yourself have received. My child, Remember that generosity in my kingdom is not measured by size, but by sincerity. A small gift carried by great love is stronger than a large gift driven by a desire to exalt oneself. When you give your time, your presence, or a word of encouragement that asks nothing in return, you are doing something that belongs to me more than any other act. You will see that giving and receiving are not two opposing columns, they are a single movement. When you give in the right way, you are also opening your heart to receive not from the person before you, but from me, the one who sees what your left hand is doing even when your right hand does not remember. You cannot know how far your small actions travel, because they do not stop where you stand. They move into stories you will never hear. They touch hearts you will never meet. They change the direction of those who are standing between confusion and despair. There are people I have allowed you to meet only once in your life, and you may think your presence meant nothing. But my child, it may be that one smile from you saved them from a dark decision that very night. It may be that a simple inquiry from you helped them believe that someone still sees them in a cold world. You do not hear the story behind it, but I hear. You do not see their heart, but I see. And there is something else I want you to know. Something you sometimes forget when loneliness closes in. You have never left my sight. Even when you feel abandoned. Even when you do not hear my voice. Even when your heart feels like an empty, wordless space. I still look at you with the same love that created you from the beginning. Your life sends out quiet ripples you yourself do not see. There are times when all you do is breathe one heavy, struggling breath, and that has become a witness to someone else that they too can go on for one more day. There are moments when the tears you shed in silence have made another person stronger, though you do not know it and will never hear about it. The thread that connects your soul to the wide world is not always visible, but it is real, and I myself have woven it with my own hands. Believe that the unseen good is still being stored up, even if you do not see change immediately, even if you do not hear the stories of the goodness you have sown, even if you do not know who has stood firm because of the light you lit. I know. I count every seed of goodness you sow. I hear every small word of comfort you have spoken. I take note of every gentle act you have given, and I turn it all into blessing for you yourself and for people you would never expect. My child, do not underestimate the power of a soul that knows how to love. Do not think your life is so small that it cannot make a difference. I once used a shepherd boy to change an entire nation. I once used a girl from Nazareth to open the way of salvation for the whole world. I have used the trembling hands of the weakest ones to accomplish the mightiest works. I can use you too, and I am using you in ways you cannot imagine. So, my child, today, walk on with gratitude, with that small yet steadfast light in your hand, and with the trust that every single thing you do in love is moving heaven and earth in a better direction. Do not be afraid of not being enough. I will complete what is lacking. Do not fear that your kindness is too small. I will cause it to spread. Do not fear that what you do will disappear. I will keep it forever. And do not fear that you are insignificant, for in my eyes, you are a beautiful, irreplaceable part of the plan I have for this world. My child, keep nothing back in your heart any longer. Let everything you are carrying be laid down before me. Now open your heart and offer me your most honest prayer, so that I may touch your soul in this very moment. Almighty God, I come before you not with hands that are full, but with hands that tremble from weariness and a heart that is lacking warmth. I ask you to soothe the places of pain I have hidden and to heal the corners of my heart I thought could no longer be saved. Please give me new eyes to see that every delay, every trial, and every pressure is leading me back to the very shape you want me to become. Help me not to give up in the middle of the process and not to let go when I feel I have no strength left. Father, please rekindle the fire that has lain dormant within me. so that I may not live a fated life, but live by the strength that comes from you. My merciful Father, there have been nights when I thought I was standing alone in the darkness. But today, I believe that you are walking right beside me, even when I cannot feel you. Please teach me to see the ideas you plant in my heart as seeds of a new season. Please keep me from doubting myself, from withdrawing into discouragement, and from letting false voices steal away the new work you are doing in me. Grant me a heart that knows how to listen and feet that know how to follow. I entrust every burden to you, for on my own I cannot go on without you. Father, I thank you for not abandoning me on the days when I thought I had nothing left to offer. I thank you for sending angels to uphold me in my loneliest moments. I thank you that even when I do not see it, you are still arranging all things quietly and perfectly. I know that everything you do is leading me toward a better future. Please receive the gratitude I offer you in every breath I take. Lord, I am grateful that you do not look at me through the lens of my failures, but through the worth you yourself have placed within me. I thank you for breathing life again into the flame I thought had gone out. I thank you for using pressure to purify me rather than allowing it to devour me. Please help me live with gratitude each day, so that I may recognize your presence everywhere in my life. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith